Welcome to Ferocious Achiever. I'm James Hepner, founder and CEO of Hepner Results Coaching. We turn successful achievers into high-level achievers, grow their authority, expand their capacity to maximize all of life, and help them create a life that is vibrant and rich no matter the outcome. We help successful people stop the self-sabotage, raise their standards, and participate with unshakable confidence, creating more gains with less strain. We believe that every person has a unique message that can positively impact the world. Stick around to the end of the show where we'll reveal how you can be our next guest in 20 to 25 minutes. Let's go.
In the beginning, I wore all the hats, and you can see what that did. Okay? Lost all my hair. So being able to delegate things is important, and learning what you should delegate is important.
Or perhaps all the hats, or perhaps the hats just polished up what's inside, and now it's nice and shiny.
I'll take that one. Thank you. One of the things I didn't delegate was marketing. I thought I could market. And we were growing, and we moved along. And finally, I got busy enough, and enough things were going on. I said, I'm going to hire a marketing manager. Mm-hmm. So I hired one. And it took her about 2 weeks to prove to me that I couldn't market my way out of a paper bag. Mm-hmm. And if I'd realized my weakness in that earlier, we'd be a great deal bigger now than we are. I'm a Midwestern boy. I grew up in Iowa. After high school, I joined the United States Marine Corps. Spent 4 years in service, including a combat tour in Vietnam. Came back, was stationed in Kansas City, met and married my wife. She was 10 years older than I was and had 5 kids. I claim insanity, but we were married for 45 years before she passed.
Oh.
After the military, I found that my military experience was not valued by business. So I went to school, got my credentials, got my BBA, my MBA in quick order. I was motivated at that point in time to get them. Sat for and passed my CPA exam while I was still in graduate school. Went to work for Texas Instruments. Spent 15 years in the corporate world, small corporations, big ones, startups, turnarounds, lots of great experience. Realized I was never going to get to the top of a major corporation. I did not have the political skills. Unwilling to stab people in the back and toss them off the ladder. So,
come on.
Yeah, I'm perfectly willing to stab people, but I do it from the front. Marine Corps training. So anyway, Ruth and I decided we're going to start our own business. So 30 some odd years ago, we started our own business, and it was an accounting practice. Being a CPA, obviously, was the obvious step. And it had a payroll sideline. We grew it. I took on a partner at one point. And then here about 10, 12 years ago, I sold off the accounting practice side to him and kept the payroll. And so we now provide payroll services to small and medium-sized businesses around the country and having a great time doing it.
Gosh, you look like you're having a good time doing it. Sometimes when we link to accounting, we wonder. Right?
I used to go to conferences with them.
Oh,
okay. You're off in Las Vegas at 8:30 at night. They're all in bed. Okay. Accountants are not party animals by any stretch of the imagination.
So share with the listeners at a high level, what do you do? And please talk non-accountees or legalese. At a high level, what do you do? Like, how do you take what someone gives you, and how do you onboard and receive that, and how do you spit that back to them in such a way that has them go, yep, he's my guy?
Well, it's simple. They tell us who they employ and how much they've agreed to pay them. We handle everything else. We calculate the payroll. We calculate all the taxes. We pay the people via direct deposit or check. We make all their tax deposits. We do all their tax filings. We solve the problems when the IRS creates them, as it does on a regular basis, and keep them out of trouble with the IRS and the states. We help them with other payroll associated things, timekeeping, HR, benefits, workers' comp, and so on.
Have you ever thought about going into politics? You might actually help.
The only office I ran for, which was city council, I didn't win. So
Stay with the accounting, stay with the payroll. I like that. I like that.
stay with something I love. Politics,
Yeah.
politics is it's like the flu. It's a necessary evil. People get it.
Oh, how do you keep, so speaking about the necessary flu, how do you keep people away from the concept of, gee, I just got to get somebody to do my payroll. Like, I don't like doing it. And it's like, it's a bit of a flu. Like, how do you keep people in, how do you have them aligned? Perhaps let's take it this way, aligned with being very excited about the fact that they get to outsource and have someone engage in this. Like, how do you have them excited?
Well, one of the analogies I use is when I grew up, Pele was the world's best soccer player. Okay, wonderful athlete, still alive. But if you take Pele with all his athletic skills and you put him in a New York Yankees uniform at second base, he's lost. He doesn't know the game, doesn't know the rules. The idea of picking up the ball with your hands, he's totally lost. Still a great athlete. So if you take a businessman who's successful, he's got happy clients, he's making money, he's growing his business. Now you say to him, okay, go deal with the IRS. They screwed up your taxes. They made a mistake. Fix it. He's Pele at second base. He's lost. He's a great businessman. He's doing a great job. But he's lost because he doesn't know he doesn't know the rules. He doesn't know the game. He doesn't know the players. He doesn't know what you can say to an umpire, what you can't. He doesn't know any of that. Now, I don't know his business like he does. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a lawyer, a doctor, a dog groomer, a restaurateur, whatever. But I know how to fight the IRS. I know how to fix those problems. That's what I do for a living. Now, our compliance, which is our real unique selling proposition, not only am I a CPA, I'm a U.S. tax court practitioner. You have no idea what that means.
Powerful. No, I do. Well, I do know a little, but not to the degree that you do.
Good.
So I want to hear it. So please share. Love it.
Okay. A U.S. tax court practitioner is a non-attorney who is licensed to practice as counsel, as an attorney in the United States tax court. There's about 200 of us in the country, and I'm one of them. I went and got that certification because the IRS was getting so obstreperous and hard to deal with that I said, hey, I can do this and I can help my clients. We have yet to lose a tax court case. Someday we will. I promise you we will. Hopefully it won't be yours. But so far.
Just a second. Did you say I hope that it will be yours that we lose? Is that what you said?
It won't be yours. Don't lose yours. Okay. But one of these days we will. But in the meantime, we've won them all. We've got several pending right now. And it gives us, as opposed to our competition, an ability to get an extra bite at the apple. And 95% of U.S. tax court cases are settled before court because they are very incentivized to settle these things because they don't want to lose in court. They may lose a whole bunch of stuff. So we provide our clients with alternatives that they don't have anywhere else. So, if you want to be Pele at second base, help yourself. I don't recommend it.
Oh gosh, that's just fantastic. I love it. Like, who doesn't need somebody to stand in the gap and represent us well? Like, hello. And the fact that, and I love it, you're one of the 200. So perhaps I'll ask this. Do the other 199 have a payroll service like you do?
I've only run across one.
Wow.
That is a CPA, works in a CPA firm that has a payroll sideline up in Ohio, and he is a U.S. tax court practitioner. That's the only other one I know of.
So So let's slow this down. Take us through an experience. How precisely do you have a cutting edge advantage over one of the other 199? Like what you do, go ahead.
I had a client. We had picked him up for payroll and we had done his year end stuff and sent in a W-2. Well, he'd been with a competitor of ours. I won't say their name, but their initials are ADP. And they also sent in a W-2 for him. And about 3 years later, the IRS came back and said, well, you have all this income you didn't report. You owe taxes on it. And here's your notice of deficiency, and you have 30 days to fix this, or it's permanent. Well, ADP after 3 years is not going to fix anything. They have a year limit, and after that, it's your problem. Okay. So I filed a petition with the United States Tax Court and said, this is a duplicate. It's invalid. The producer of it will not fix it, but we can show you where the payroll was, how it worked, what we did, and what happened. And I got a call from the counsel for the IRS, and I explained it to him, and he said, okay. And that was the end of it.
So okay, so what you're simply saying is the fact that, help us understand, the fact that your commitment just extends beyond the year literally has you just in a ballpark of your own. Is that what you're talking about? Like you are playing a game.
And we can do things that our competitors can't or won't, which involves the U.S. tax court. I had a case that took 9 years to solve.
Wow.
The IRS wanted a penalty for $95,000.
Mm-hmm.
It was a simple mistake, and the IRS cannot penalize you for a simple mistake. They can only penalize you for gross negligence. Of course, they're the ones who define what's gross negligence and what's a simple mistake. Well, until you get to the judge. But anyway, we had appealed and appealed and appealed and appealed and appealed. And we finally got to the head of field operations, which is above the local appeals office and is a regional thing. And he wouldn't return my phone calls. And I called him every month for a year. And so I had been on the IRS Advisory Council. So I had met all the bigwigs at the IRS, all of the commissioner. I had lunch with him several times, the commissioners of the various business entities, the head of appeals, and so on. So I called the deputy chief of appeals and said, hey, this guy works for you and he won't return my phone calls. So he said, I'll have him call you. He called me that afternoon. This is after a year of trying to reach him. His phone, that number didn't work. Well, whatever. Yeah, I left messages. Okay. Anyway, so I explained the situation. Now remember, the call to talk to me had come from his boss down to him. So he was a little more gracious than he might otherwise have been. And we had it assigned to another appeals office. They looked at it, and 90 days later, my client, instead of a $95,000 penalty, got a $450 refund.
That sounds like something someone can get excited about. A ferocious achiever, you listeners, you know who you are. You want it all. You want somebody to stand in the gap for you. You want somebody to deliver some good news. You'd rather get a bit of a check instead of paying $95,000, right? That's for sure. Charles, talk to us a little bit about when you think about your earlier days in business and where you're at today. What have you learned about business that you would say is a super, and I mean a super important, I don't know if that's even a term, a super important, but a very important behavior and characteristic, strategy, whatever it is, to adopt, and please do so early and often, that allowed you to be at the place where you're at today? Obviously, your successes, you speak of them. I mean, it's everywhere, right? Listeners, tap in, you'll see it everywhere. What is that for you?
There's two that come to mind real quickly. The first is style doesn't matter. Results matter. Mm-hmm. This was something I had to learn as I hired people. Mm-hmm. If they get the result I want, the fact that they do it in a method that I don't do it in doesn't matter. Now, if it's substance, and when we first got into hiring people to do payrolls, we started building checklists so it was done properly like a CPA would do. That's important that they do it that way. But style doesn't matter, results do. That's something I had to learn. Working with people, their style is going to be different. They need to fit the corporate culture. They need to get along with everybody, but their particular style of how they handle things, talk to people, you know, you get some that are motherly, you get some that are grandfatherly, you get some that are, you know, maybe you think they're a little snide, but the clients love them. Who cares? If the clients love them and the work gets done, I'm happy. Next one is delegation.
Mm.
You know, in the beginning, I wore all the hats, and you can see what that did. Okay. Lost all my hair. So being able to delegate things is important, and learning what you should delegate is important.
Or perhaps all the hats, sorry, or perhaps the hats just polished up what's inside and now it's nice and shiny.
I'll take that one. Thank you. One of the things I didn't delegate was marketing. I thought I could market. And we were growing and we moved along. And finally I got busy enough and enough things were going on. I said, I'm going to hire a marketing manager.
Mm-hmm.
So I hired one. And it took her about 2 weeks to prove to me that I couldn't market my way out of a paper bag.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'd realized my weakness in that earlier, we'd be a great deal bigger now than we are. But that is, so you have to delegate, and you have to delegate the right things.
Leadership tends to be, you must know your strengths, but unless you know your weakness, you're not fit to be a king. You're not fit to be the leader or the queen of your tribe. I don't think so. You got to understand these things, right? And so when you speak delegation, I think what resonates for me is you're talking about moments that humble you as a business owner, right? And so what do you do? Very much so. Right. So what do you do with, so just, again, think about when you're humble then, and then maybe think about where you're currently humbled. Like, I think humbling is this ever constant play. And it's like, well, we get to keep learning. We get to not be in the know it all. We get to be like, I'm sitting here in this foreign territory, and I thought I was going to be like so stable at this point in my life. But to some degree, this humility thing just keeps saying, you must invite, you must come into me. You must let me in. Right. So talk to us about how you, Mr. Charles Reed, sitting behind that beautiful wall of yours behind you with a shirt that matches, how does this human stay humble?
First of all, you have to learn every day. And the old saw, the more you know, the more you realize how little you know.
Mm-hmm.
I am constantly educating myself on things, on business, on payroll, on taxes, constantly. And I realize just how limited my knowledge base is. And I learned a long time ago also, you don't need to be the smartest person in the room. You need to hire the smartest person in the room, okay? Hire smart people, hire good people. I like Warren Buffett's, we hire good people, we don't hire jerks. So hire good people, put them to work for you. Sometimes you don't need the smartest person, you need people who can do certain things. Hire good people. But you learn that you can't do it all, and you have to constantly educate yourself. The world changes, technology. Jesus, over the last 30 years, technology changes have been incredible and continue to be every day. We're just putting on a new marketing service literally today that has some very special things with the internet and gathers knowledge and information that we didn't know existed. So yeah, let's use it. I learned about it, and we're with it. And, we're going to try it out, and we think it has great promise. So it's technology that did not exist 5 years ago. I mean, look, we're on Zoom calls, right?
Well, we'd like to think we are.
10 years ago, did this exist?
All right, I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember when Skype came out and you could do an internet phone call. Well, my phone system's VoIP. When we built this building here just over 20 years ago, we looked at some computerized phone systems, and they just weren't ready for prime time. They absolutely were not. They were in their infancy. The VoIP system I have now is superior to any old analog system that I've ever seen, and does more things and does it cheaper and faster and quicker and more reliable. You know, I can get a call and it can go, if I'm not there to answer it at my phone, it can go to my cell phone. It can track me down. It can do all kinds of things. I actually don't let it do that, but my people do. So we can get a hold of them. That didn't exist. I mean, I worked for the Bell system, Jesus, 55, 60 years ago when I was a teenager, and got my first class radio license. The world's changed and it continues to change. If you don't keep up with it, you're going to be left behind.
Speaking about changing, what do you see within the current market trends inside your industry that you would say it's very important to notice, because when you notice it, it's going to help you scale, and it's the necessary requirement to get you to scale? And if you could, perhaps even reflect within your own journey. You talked about the building you built 20 years ago. Gosh, you've been in the industry for a long time. What do you see in the industry trends, and in relation to scalability, what is that we want to really, really, really laser down on?
Well, in my industry, payroll, the gig economy is continuing to grow, and that fractures my industry more and more. But even gig workers, depending upon how they organize, need payroll. Obviously, digital, electronic, distributed, all these things are growing. We've recently instituted, we were the first payroll company to institute crypto payroll.
I see that, which is really interesting. I was gonna draw you to that. Beautiful, thank you.
And though at the moment with crypto, it is a growing industry too, and the problems that are happening in it, FTX and
unfortunately it's growing.
Collapsing.
Unfortunately, it's growing in recognition in all the ways that crypto doesn't want it.
Yeah, and that's too bad, but we've gotten into it so we can handle it for our clients, because these kinds of things, digital distribution, everything is becoming decentralized, everything, and will continue to do so. There's a lot of things coming down the pike. In our industry, daily payroll or payroll on demand. I'm not a great believer in it for a lot of reasons, including costs, but it's one of those things that people are trying out. Obviously, direct deposit. 20 years ago, direct deposit was almost non-existent. Most of our payroll now is direct deposit, and I recommend it to my clients for a lot of reasons. Check fraud, which is a huge problem. It's got direct deposit, you don't have check fraud. There's no checks for them fraud artists to take and create problems with.
Gosh, it's so funny. If you don't mind, I'm just going to pause you for a real quick second. It's fascinating. So when you say direct deposit, I was born in 1976, and I do remember one of the first jobs that I got. I think they paid me a check, and it makes sense. But we actually tend to forget a world without direct deposit. Like when you say direct, the first thing that comes to heart for me is, are you meaning to say that people are willing to have you deposit their money into other people indirect accounts? That's not what you're saying, right? Go ahead. So the whole ecosystem has changed. The whole landscape has moved. Where terminologies and we see.
I pay my trainer with Venmo. You got to be joking. I mean, that's ridiculous. Okay. And my real first job, or whatever, shortly when I was 17, I joined the Marine Corps. They still paid you in cash. Literally, the officer would come out and there'd be a NCO there with a shotgun, and he would literally count out cash money to you. And
wow.
You'd sign off. So the world has really changed. You actually can pay people in cash. It's still legal to do so, because it's legal tender.
It's still legal to pay people in cash. That's incredible. Right. That's incredible. Like if you think of back in the day, like who would have thought that would even come across someone's lips like yours? Like it's still legal to do the legal thing. It's like it's moving so quickly, which of course people like you understand that we better be part of where monetary is going. It's moving. It's not just staying with fiat currency. It is going. And fiat might be a thing for a long time, but beautiful. Go ahead. Sorry, cut you off.
No. It's quite all right. But I don't have a client that pays their employees in cash. Of all my clients, not one pays in cash. But 100 years ago, they all paid in cash.
Mm-hmm.
The world keeps changing. And if you don't keep up with it, if you don't learn about it, if you're not on you don't need to be on the cutting edge, but you need to be on the leading edge. Okay.
That's so good. That's so good. You got to be on that razor cusp, innovative. What are people really needing and wanting, and where's the ultimate solution? Okay, leave us, all of us here, with some wisdom. And I know you're probably thinking, well, wisdom, what is that? Because humble wisdom is kind of, those two words are kind of interesting, but honestly, leave us with some juice, like something that we can all do. Like, what would you say? Just take some time, take a minute. This is just you and I, Charles, you and I here together. The podcast Ferocious Achiever is about non-anxious striving. It's about achievement in the healthiest way. Go ahead.
Okay. And I'm going to tell you something I learned many years ago, and I truly believe in for everybody that's out there in the marketplace, trying to get clients, trying to serve, and so on. There's never a traffic jam on the extra mile. Go the extra mile for your clients, go the extra mile for your employees, go the extra mile for your family, because other people won't. And if you go the extra mile for your clients, they will know it, they will appreciate it, and your competitors won't do it. Go the extra mile for your employees, they'll know it, they'll love it, and they won't leave you.
It's as simple as that. Like you say, right? You should always go the extra mile. And like you say, your competitors won't do it. So if you want to differentiate yourself, just do what other people aren't willing to do. Just go that extra mile. So Charles, where can people find you? I mean, we can find you right here, but after, where can people find you? Yeah, there we go, behind me. It's behind me.
Yeah, get Payroll on the web, obviously, getpayroll.com. My email is cjr@getpayroll.com. And frankly, for your listeners, if they really have a question, 972-353-0000. Ask for Charles.
I love it. So that's 972 beep, 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 beep. Listen to that message again. Ask for Charles. Charles will be more than willing to pick up the phone and talk with you for half a second. It's been my honor. It's been my pleasure. And gosh, I wish you all the best. And you got a pretty unique product. What I like is you're right in tow with the market. What the market's asking for, you're staying sharp. And so you're thinking, what else am I? And back to the whole point on the hair, razor sharp. So I don't know if you razor or if that just stayed nice and polished, but whatever it is, it was an honor. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Charles.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
That was fantastic. Hey, Charles, that was a super fun little play. I always appreciate when people are willing to have some fun. To me, I think business can be a lot of fun, right?
There's days you got to laugh about it. If not, you're just going to sit down and cry.
So what's interesting? I was at a Thanksgiving party. So I live in Canada, but we have a friend here who used to live in the States. Actually, he's a U.S. citizen, and so he had a whole bunch of friends over. And I'm a bit of a biohacker, so I love thinking how I can strengthen myself and not being hyper vigilant. But I have a whole body cryotherapy in my lab and different things. I got like $350,000 of medical gear. And so we're just chatting, and this one gentleman is also really into the space, and we're really getting into it. And there's another guy there. He's a really fun person. Like, he was a laugher, just like a jovial human. Like, he loved to talk, but not overly loud. But he wasn't very healthy at all. Like, you could tell he wasn't very healthy. And if you'd say where I'd place my bet on who might live longest, it's the funny guy. You know what I mean? He's just having a good time.
Laughter's the best medicine.
Right?
But I will say this. I work out 3 times a week with a trainer.
Good job. Yeah.
And I believe that exercise is the fountain of youth. I'm 73 years old. Okay. I don't look like it. I don't act like it. My girlfriends say they don't believe it. So that's with an S, girlfriends. So yeah, exercise, take care of yourself. I quit drinking, a bunch of things. And you got to take care of yourself, and you got to have fun. And laughter is medicine.
I love it. It's so good. It's so good. Hey, Charles, listen, would you be willing after the show, you and I get on a little talk and just see perhaps we want to do business together? I don't know, get to know each other a little more. I listen to your story and I listen to who you are as a human. And, I know you got a force of people behind you. And, support for those people is always a cool thing, which, I don't know, you may have somebody that currently works with them, but are you interested in just chatting a little bit and seeing how we might do business together? Or is that of interest to you at all?
Always.
Yeah.
No, always.
Okay.
You never know. So
Okay.
yeah, if you've got something, let's talk. I'll bring in my staff and we can all have a discussion and see if there's some synergy that can work out for both of us.
I love it. So what I'll do, Charles, is do you have just 2 minutes? I'll just do this for you. I'll just import the details for you. Is that okay?
Well, if you'll, as you set it up with Anash if you'll set it up with him, we'll set a time that'll work for all of us.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. Okay, so who's Anash, by the way? That's
Anash
your person.
My marketing manager.
Got it. Perfect. So do I have Anash's contact information?
Anash at Get Payroll. ANOSH.
ANOSH.
Anash Vaswamy. Just Anash at Get Payroll.
Get Payroll. Okay, so we'll just we'll just connect there, and then we can set up a time and a date, and then we'll do that. No, I love it. So hey, it was an honor to have you on. And sometimes I'll be honest, when I see people that pop into the screen and they're I hate to say this, but they're a little beyond 60. I'm 40. But I kind of be like, what's this going to be about? Like, it's going to be energy flowing here. But you have energy, my friend, and that's fantastic. So keep that up. And when you say energy, you got girlfriends with an S. So that's interesting. So there you go. All right. You take care. We'll talk soon. James Hepner here. Thank you so much for listening to Ferocious Achiever. If you are a successful owner, founder, C-suite executive, or CEO who would like to be on this program, please visit us at www.ferociousachiever.com. Near the top of the page, you'll see our Ferocious Achiever lion logo. And right next to the lion logo, to the right-hand side, you'll see a little blue box that when you scroll over top and click on it, it'll take you directly to that guest booking page. Now, if you got something out of this interview, would you share this episode on social media or send it via email or text? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on your socials. If you know someone that would be a great guest, tag them on social media or send them an email or a text. Let them know about the show and include the hashtag Ferocious Achiever. I love seeing your posts and guest suggestions, so please don't be shy. Now, we regularly put new content, new episode out, and we do this consistently. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, reviews, those things all go a long way to help promote the show and mean a lot to me and my team. You want to know more? Simply go to the website www.jameshepner.com or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter. And here's something that you don't want to miss. If you want to stop the self-sabotage, you want to raise your standards and participate with unshakable confidence, you will want to take the Maximize Your Life quiz now, found at www.jameshepner.com/quiz. By taking this little quiz, you will discover exactly where you're making your life unnecessarily difficult and exactly where your behaviors are cutting you off from the outcomes and goals you crave most. Your quiz results will pinpoint with precise accuracy the exact areas to focus on. This will immediately activate your ability to use your time and resources effectively and instantly set you on your path to create higher level gains with less strain. Why not get down to the base and discover the truth about what's controlling your life right now? I challenge you, take a few minutes. You owe it to yourself. You're worth it, and your experience of life depends on it. Give yourself the gift by honoring yourself and taking 5 minutes to invest in yourself. Take the Maximize Your Life quiz now, again found at www.jameshepner.com/quiz. And finally, set yourself on the path that will lead you directly to what you want and need most now. Until next time, peace out, rock up.